Hey all you cool cats and kittens, it's Carol here from Big Cat Rescue, here with another episode of Pasquinelli's Point.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Pasquinelli's Point. I've been gone a while. It's almost like I got canceled and then picked up on another network. Well, that's besides the point. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the video. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Let's get to the point. So, for my first video back, it's not going to be something crazy, but I'm ready for these new videos, new challenges, and things seem to be getting back to normal somewhat since COVID. So there's a lot of things happening in the world of sports and pop culture and superheroes and media and things that I like to cover. So for today, what I've really wanted to do, and this is one of my videos I've been wanting to make for a long time, there's been talks about Injustice 3 at some point probably coming out, and no one knows for sure, but I figured why not make my wish list. So I did top five lists of characters that I wanted to be in the game, and I broke them down into sections. So I'm not going to go into super great detail about each character because you're talking like an hour-long video, and I highly doubt someone's going to watch that. But let's get started with my top 5 Batman characters. So for honorable mention for Batman, I would say the Penguin.
My name is not Oswald. It's Penguin. I am not a human being. I am an animal.
The Penguin would have a lot of cool moves. He'd use his umbrella. His super would be pretty cool, I think. But I just don't feel like he fits in the top 5 for me. Now, number 1 for me would be Two-Face.
This court is now in session.
And I just think Two-Face would have a great, he just have a great interaction with other characters, and just the way he struggles as a person between his two personalities. But I also think, which would be really cool, is his super. You know, he'd use the coin and try and decide whether or not he wants to kill someone, and he could have a lot of cool moves, and he'd probably be like a Rushdown character. If I was going to have... The other thing about Two-Face is you can have a premiere skin like from The Dark Knight or from the 90s animated Batman. I think I'm very big into the premiere skins. I think they're very, very, very cool. So for my number 2 character, I'm going to say it's going to be Ra's al Ghul. Now, or Ra's al Ghul, however you want to say it.
Though father's name was pronounced Ra's, not Raz. A common mistake.
I think he would be an excellent character to have just because he's kind of like a foreboding villain. You know, he's got mystic powers, but he also can fight hand to hand. He has the sword that he uses, and maybe he can even bring in some of his henchmen to help him fight. I think his character would be really neat to have in interactions with like Batman and Superman, you know, because they have faced him before. Number 3, and somebody I think who's more than likely going to be in the game, I think it's going to be Clayface.
See? I figured out how to manage this thing pretty good.
I think Clayface is a great asset to have in the game, and there's so many things you can do to him. Like, you can have him duck and he can turn into like a puddle of clay, or he can turn into a ball and roll behind the character. He can throw clay, he can get people stuck in the clay, and you can have him grow in size. He can maybe shrink down low or get real big, you know. So I think Clayface would be a good character, and he's another person where you can take the 90s animated Batman series and make a premiere skin for him. I think that would be pretty cool. Now, number 4, and a lot of people are probably going to be like, dude, seriously? Where's all the superheroes at for the Batman characters? Well, I really enjoy Firefly.
Firefly.
You beat me once, but that's a long time ago.
And if they are going to bring in characters to tie them into things that are happening now, Brendan Fraser, who is cast as Firefly for the new Batgirl movie, it would make sense that he would be in the game. So I think Firefly could be a lot like Captain Cold kind of, not have like a whole lot of moves, but he would be an he would be a harder character to master, get his combos down right and stuff. But he also would have a jetpack similar to like Black Manta, where he could like fly around the screen. And then fifth and final Batman character, I would like to see the Riddler.
Just a friend, but you can call me the Riddler.
Now, the Riddler can trick people, confuse people. He can use his cane to fight. And one thing for me with the Riddler that I would like to see is you can have a lot of different premiere skins. You can have a Jim Carrey Riddler. You can have the Arkham series Riddler. You can have the Riddler from the new Batman movie coming out with Robert Pattinson, which would make sense because if they're tying it into things that are happening now, like I already said, it would make sense that that Riddler premiere skin would be in the game. So those are my top 5 Batman characters. I know there's no Batman Beyond on there, but you know what? Batman Beyond and Batman are very similar. Do we really need another Batman in the game? I don't think so. Now, my top 5 new hero characters would be, I'm going to start with my honorable mentions. I'd like Robot Man or Crazy Jane in the game.
Wide open and drag me with you!
I'm sorry, sir.
Wait, which one are you?
Penny Farthing, sir.
I think more so Crazy Jane than Robot Man. I think Crazy Jane would be cool because you'd be able to switch between her different personalities, which would give her different powers. And you might be able to do that with the trait, something like that. But my number one new character, I would love to see the Question. Now, he's someone who is very similar to Batman. He's the detective. He has hand-to-hand combat skills. But he's also a little different, a little unique. And I think they could make his character very, very interesting. And his super would probably be pretty cool just because it'd be a lot of hand-to-hand combat. Now, my number 2 character, my number 2 new hero character would be the Spectre.
I am vengeance. I am the Spectre.
Now, the Spectre is like a god, so it's kind of hard to say how they would make him in this game. Now, maybe they would make him more human-like, so it's easier for him to fight, for people to fight him, so he's not such a hard character to fight against. But he's got so many different powers and strengths, and he can use his cape. And I think Plastic Man will more than likely be in this game, but he is my 3rd new hero character.
Only way out of here is through me. Check and mate.
Now, Plastic Man, there's a lot of things you can also do with his character, similar to Clayface. He could, he could stretch across the screen and punch people, so he could be ranged. He could turn into an airplane, a bouncy ball, a bazillion different things, and there's so much room for them to use him in different aspects in different ways. And his super could be really cool because he could just change into a bunch of different things and hit the player, kind of like go across screen, hit him, come across screen as something else and hit him, something similar to that. My number 4 character is Booster Gold. I love Booster Gold.
Citizens of Metropolis, behold, Booster Gold.
Well, I think Booster Gold is amazing. Now, Booster Gold, and he's got his little buddy. I think his name is Skeets, if I'm not mistaken. I think Skeets could kind of be similar to like Atrocitus's cat, where he could have his own little moveset on his trait. But Booster Gold would have like his little weapons that he could use, and he's from the future, so obviously his super would have something to do with him traveling back and forth through time and doing something similar along the lines of maybe the Flash, but like going to different places. My number 5 new hero character is Hawk and Dove.
My hero.
Now, hear me out. I don't think Hawk and Dove should be separate like how the Ninja Turtles were all separate. I think Hawk and Dove should be one character that you can switch in between in the match depending on how you fight. Obviously, Hawk is a more tough, strong, muscle character, and Dove is a little bit more acrobatic. So maybe you can only switch twice in the match or something like that. But I think that each one would have their own moveset and different things you'd have to learn. Obviously, they'd have similar moves, but their special moves would be a little bit different. And their super would be cool because they would use each other to attack the character that they're fighting. So, and then I also think with Hawk and Dove, since you do have the Titans, you can use the Hawk and Dove from the Titans as a premier skin. But that's it for my top 5 new hero characters. I can't say that right for some reason. Next is my top 5 most likely characters. And honorable mention is going to be Peacemaker. Peacemaker is blowing up so much with the Suicide Squad movie and also as well as TV show. I wasn't a huge fan of the show at the very beginning, but the last like 2 or 3 episodes have been really, really good. So, and I do like John Cena. I think John Cena was great. John Cena premier skin is Peacemaker. But you can do so much with Peacemaker and his helmets and how they can do, different moves. Obviously, you see in Peacemaker, the TV show, not to try and spoil anything, but each helmet has a different power. So maybe he can have a helmet that does multiple things, and then he's got his different guns and bow and arrows and all kind of different stuff that he can use. All right, that was my honorable mention. My number 1 person that I think is most likely going to be in the game is John Constantine.
I am an accomplished warlock, an expert of the occult, and a master of exorcism.
And part of it is because I want John Constantine in the game. So, John Constantine, I think, would be a great asset to this game with his magical abilities and just the way that he portrays himself in comics and media in general. I think Constantine, if they do not put him in this game, it's a huge, huge missed opportunity here. I just think that he's got his magical style is so much different than Zatanna, who was in the first game, that it would be a different type of magical character. He'd be a lot of fun to play as, and he wouldn't really have to fight. He'd just have magic spells that he would use. And I also think that they can do some cool premiere skins. They can have a Keanu Reeves Constantine. They can have a Matt Ryan Constantine. And I would probably literally pay. I love John Constantine. I think he's a great character. Number 2, somebody I think that's going to be in the game is going to be Beast Boy.
Hear the words coming out of your mouth.
God.
How could you not have Beast Boy? You have literally all the other Titans. You have Cyborg, you have Starfire, you had Raven. You got all these other characters in there. You got to put Beast Boy in the game. He's somebody who people want, and they want him bad. And Beast Boy would be super cool. I mean, he could do all kind of things. He could turn into a bird and fly across the screen. He could turn into a gorilla when he's picking somebody up and slamming them, or a rhino when he does a charge attack. There's 1,000 things they could do, and his super would be excellent, I think. And the way he would change characters would obviously be for his special moves. My third most likely character to be in the game is going to be Dr. Manhattan.
Something lethal.
I feel like you're going to get at least 1, if not 2 Watchmen characters in this game if it comes out. Dr. Manhattan is probably going to be the guy who shows up first, just because he's so much different than most characters. He can teleport. He can change the atoms in the air and do different things. He can grow large, grow small, and they'd have to do Dr. Manhattan from the Watchmen movie, I feel like. I feel like that version is probably the best version for this game. Fourth one is the second Watchman, who I think is going to show up, is going to be Rorschach.
I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
Now again, there's a lot of characters on this list that can be rushdown characters, very, very similar to Batman. But Rorschach is a little crazy. Maybe a whole lot of crazy. So I think Rorschach would be a fun character to play as, especially if he gets his mask taken off and he goes a little bit bonkers or nuts. But his character would be a little bit kind of almost Jokerish when his super comes up, where he goes a little crazy and does something a little bit over the top. But I think they can easily work Rorschach in there. Now for my 5th most likely character, it's going to be King Shark. How can it not be King Shark? King Shark is awesome. In the Harley Quinn series, he's great. And also in Justice League, voiced by Sylvester Stallone. Great. I think King Shark would be such a dominant presence. And I got to think, like, if you get rid of a character like Bane, you can put King Shark in, and there's your next, big grappler character. He's going to pick you up. He's going to take a chop. He's going to, jump up in the air and slam you down on the ground. All kind of different moves. He can maybe throw water at you, like a wave type thing, kind of like an Aquaman or slash Black Manta. I think King Shark is going to definitely show up. I just feel like there's too many King Shark things out there in the media. I know there was a mini comic book series about King Shark, so it would make the most sense that he shows up. Now for my top 5 guest characters that I want. Honorable mention is the Spirit. I just figured I had honorable mentions on everything else. I got to put an honorable mention in there. So I think the Spirit it'd be all right, I guess. That was just one of the other characters that I, thought of. Now, my number 1 guest character I think should be Judge Dredd. And it should be Judge Dredd, Sylvester Stallone, and no other Judge Dredd out there. I think, in my personal opinion, that Judge Dredd is a great character. He has his gun. He can switch his bullets. Kind of like Deadshot does. He's a fighter. He's tough. Nothing can really take him down. And I feel like he's just such a good character to have in a game like this. Now, my number 2 character, and please, NetherRealm, put Ash Williams in the game.
Groovy.
I gotta have a game with Ash Williams in it. You're talking a guy with a sawed-off shotgun and a chainsaw for an arm, and everything's groovy. I love the character. I think if he doesn't show up in this, he's got to show up in the next Mortal Kombat. I got to have Ash Williams in a game at some point. He's got to be in a fighting game. His super would be really cool. He could have, all kind of different chainsaw moves. A move where maybe he picks the guy up with the chainsaw while it's running and he shoots him with his sawed-off shotgun. I think Ash Williams would be a great character to have.
See this? This is my boomstick.
You can even, his interactions with other characters would be pretty funny, even if he comes in fighting different Deadites and then he sees somebody across and that's how the conversation starts. My number 4 guest character is He-Man. I think He-Man would be a great addition to this because he is very hero-esque, and like as he walks up he can say I have the power and literally turn into He-Man and then start his conversation with somebody across from him. And especially with Kevin Smith's He-Man Revelations being on Netflix, actually to me it was very interesting and I enjoyed it, and I think He-Man would be a cool character to have in the game. And maybe you even have like a move that you do that's a cooldown period that turns him into Adam and he really can't do anything but block. So to do a powerful move, if you don't land it, you turn into Adam and it kind of costs you and could cost you the match. I think that would be pretty cool. Now, my 5th and final guest character is the Mask.
Party time! P-A-R-T. Why? Because I gotta.
Why the Mask isn't in a Mortal Kombat game or hasn't been in Justice, considering he's a superhero, it just makes no sense to me. I feel like he'd be a perfect character. He's a little crazy. He can do all kind of different stuff. He can reach into his suit and pull something out. He can spin around like a tornado. He can do a lot of different things. Now, the Mask, I feel like if he doesn't show up, that's also another missed opportunity. There's a lot of characters on this list for me that I think should be on the list. I think should be in the game, but probably won't be. But someone like the Mask, I feel like it's a good opportunity to put a character like that in this game. Now, final top 5 list is top 5 villains. My honorable mention is Ratcatcher.
This is Sebastian. Say hello, Sebastian.
And I think Ratcatcher in the Suicide Squad movie was great. I enjoyed her character a lot. And it could be that version of her. I just think it would be hilarious to see Ratcatcher do a bunch of different things with rats. Maybe even create like a how Sub-Zero makes his clones. She can make like a rat person in front of her so she doesn't get hit. We're going to get into the top 5 villains. Number 1, Anti-Monitor. And I know what you're saying. Anti-Monitor, he's huge. How can he fight these characters? These characters will get destroyed. But similar to the Spectre earlier on in the video, I think that Anti-Monitor, if they shrink him down and make him a normal character, I think he would be a good asset to the game to fight. You know, he could be the main villain of the game, honestly. So he could have a lot of different powers, use his, you know, multiversal powers and different stuff like that. But I think he'd be a good character to have. Now, number 2, people are going to say, well, we already had him. But we had him using Flash's moveset, and that is Reverse Flash.
I ran a long way from the future to hurt you, Barry. But this timeline, it's all wrong.
I think Reverse Flash would be just absolutely amazing in this game. He just needs to have his own moveset. Even if you have the Flash have his own moveset, have Reverse Flash have his own moveset, and I think it would make it that much better. I think Reverse Flash's super could be better. I just think that they could redesign the character as a whole, and you could do an Eobard Thawne from like the Flash TV series. I think that would be really cool. And then you just like, it wouldn't be the same character, you know. It needs to be a little bit different. Because, like, for me, like, I like the Flash, and I like playing with Jay Garrick Flash in Injustice 2. And I also like Reverse Flash, but Reverse Flash has the same moves, so why am I going to use Reverse Flash if I can use Jay Garrick? I want Reverse Flash as his own character. Okay, number 3, Captain Boomerang.
Welcome to the party, Captain Boomerang.
And there seems to be a little bit of a trend here. There's a lot of Flash villains on this list. But I think Captain Boomerang, especially with the Suicide Squad movies, and now you got the Fight the Justice League coming out, and Captain Boomerang's going to be a main character. I think Captain Boomerang would be an awesome character. He can have different boomerangs, like exploding ones. He can have, you know, freeze ones, fire ones, whatever. All kind of different boomerangs like that. Plus, you know, he can fight, but also his specialty really is kind of like comical, you know? So he'll be funny in the game. He'll make you laugh with his things that he says, and the interactions between other characters, especially between maybe Reverse Flash and him, or him and the regular Flash. I think that would be a great character to have. And they could do a Jai Courtney Captain Boomerang skin. My 4th villain is Mirror Master. And you guys are probably like, dude, come on with these Flash characters already. Put another villain in there. I don't know. I got a thing for Flash villains. I think they're pretty cool. Mirror Master can do a different... he's just like a different character. You know, he has a gun that, you know, he uses to move through the mirror dimension. Now, I know it would be hard to kind of set it up, because, like, you're not just going to shoot in the air and there's a mirror and he just disappears. You know, you got to set it up where there is some sort of mirror in the game, but I think that there's a way they can do it where he'll be fun to play as, and I think he'll have cool movesets. He can even explode a mirror, and maybe the shards go shooting at the character you're fighting, at your opponent. You know, I think Mirror Master is a fun one to look at. And then last but not least, Vandal Savage.
Welcome to the Hall of Doom. I'm Vandal Savage.
Vandal Savage is just, he's kind of like Kraven the Hunter. He's a little bit crazy, a little bit wild, but he's strong, super strong, and he's got all this knowledge from traveling over all these time periods. I feel like Vandal Savage would be an excellent character to have in the game. You can even do a Legends of Tomorrow Vandal Savage skin. That would be really cool. But that is my list. You guys let me know what you think. Is there any characters that you definitely want to see that I have on my list? Characters that I left off that I didn't put on there? Let me know. Also, if you like this video, let me know if you'd like to see me do a Marvel fighting game version of like Injustice. Now, if I have the same mindset as it being like an Injustice game but with Marvel characters, I can also do a list and let you guys know what I think about that, and maybe break it up a little bit different so it's not such a lengthy video. But that's the end of the video, guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to check me out on my Facebook, my Instagram, and my Twitter, Pasquinelli's Point, and my TikTok, Pasquinelli's Point. And Let me know if you liked the video. Follow me on YouTube.